In December of 1982, Dave Bowie entered the Power Station studio in New York to record his 15th studio album with a new producer and a then unknown blues guitarist. The album was a transitional album for Bowie that achieved artistic success with his Ziggy Stardust era, but was aiming for a more commercial approach since the release of the previous albums Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Let's Dance would become Bowie's best-selling album ever, and also the first major work released by that unknown guitarist. In this video, I'm going to talk about the story of the album and the impact it had on not just only Bowie's career, but everyone involved around it. Welcome to the series The Genius Of, and let's dig into Let's Dance by Dave Bowie.
Let's dance to the song.
It was 3 years after the release of his 14th studio album, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, in 1980. The album that made Bowie achieve what biographer Dave Buckley calls the perfect balance of creativity and mainstream success. 3 years was also the longest gap in Bowie's career at the time, mainly due to other projects he was working on. He was busy portraying the lead role of Joseph John Merrick in the Broadway play The Elephant Man between late July of 1980 and early January of 81. The play is about a true story about an Englishman known by his severe physical deformations used as an exhibition at a freak show. He was filming an appearance in the movies Christian F., The Hunger, and Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and recording some collaborative tracks, and one of them you probably heard of, the song called Under Pressure with Queen. December of 82 also marked 2 years of the assassination of John Lennon, an event that affected not only the music industry, but the whole world. Bowie was no different, making him cancel the upcoming Scary Monsters tour and deciding to reclude himself in his Switzerland residence for a long period. The whole idea of a new album was a fresh start approach. Bowie chose Nile Rodgers of the R&B band Chic, which was one of the most commercially successful bands at the late 70s, with the goal of making a hit album.
He invited me over to Switzerland to work with him, and he had told me that he wanted an album of hits. I was like, okay, cool. I think I can do hits with David Bowie. That's an awesome project.
Along with a new producer, an entirely new set of musicians were hired for the record. Rodgers took place on rhythm guitar. He also recruited his regular Chic collaborators: keyboardist Robert Sabino, percussionist Sammy Figueroa, and backing vocalists Frank and George Sims. The remaining musicians included drummer Omar Hakim, bassist Carmine Rojas, trumpeter Mark Golehan, and saxophonist Stan Harrison, Robert Aaron, and Steve Elson. And also near the end of the sessions, Chic drummer Tony Thompson and bassist Bernard Edwards for additional work. It was also the first time ever that Bowie did not play any instrument of one of his albums. Well, apart from the tremendous rosters of musicians, there is also one more name that is the key factor of what I'm making this album so important and unique, and the biggest reason why I'm making this video. Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan was born on October 3rd of 1954 in Dallas. Vaughan began playing guitar at age of 7, initially inspired by his brother Jimmy. In 72, he dropped out of high school and moved to Austin, where he joined forces with bassist Tommy Shannon and drummer Chris Layton, forming Double Trouble in 78, the blues rock group where he played and sang. Bowie had expressed interest in hiring Stevie Ray the very first night he met him. He saw him perform at the Montreux Jazz Festival in 82 and was blown away by his performance, calling him one of the most exciting new blues guitarists I've seen in years.
That's Stevie Ray Vaughan, who is, for me, just about the greatest of the new blues guitarists around. I saw him working in a jazz concert in Europe, and he was like second on the bill or something, and this little kid from Austin, Texas, came out and just played some of the most devastating city rhythm and blues I've heard in years.
Around that time, Vaughan and Double Trouble also hit the radar of Rolling Stones Records, the eponymous label run by the British band, for a deal, but unfortunately the deal never materialized. Thankfully for Stevie and the band, the singer and songwriter Jackson Browne offered the band 3 days of free use of his LA recording studio, which in November they used and recorded the very first album, Texas Flood, in only 2 days.
We went in with Jackson Browne, who we met the next night at the festival. We played in the bar under the casino where the main show is. And Jackson Browne and his band came down after their show and ended up sitting in the floor right in front of the stage, all of them lined up, and we played a ridiculous amount of time. We were like having fun. We played from I think 1:30 in the morning till 8 in the morning. And every jam you can imagine went on, and Jackson just said, look, when y'all come back, if you want to make a record, come to my studio, you can have it free tape, free everything. It ended up where we recorded our first album on his safety tapes for Liars in Love. And we didn't know that, but he went, yeah, here's the tape. Who cares? We got it, you know. And in 2 days we had all the tracks.
We're gonna go back to this album, but this album contained some of Vaughan's biggest hits like Pride and Joy, Lenny, Rude Mood, and the title track Texas Flood. Which, by the way, I didn't know that, but I'm sorry for all the blues guys that are watching this, but I had no idea that Texas Flood was a cover by the blues singer Larry Davis that was recorded in '58. Honestly, no idea.
Well, it's flooding down in Texas.
So during the recording of this album on Thanksgiving weekend, Vaughan received a 3 a.m. phone call from Dave Bowie asking him if he would be willing to cut some tracks for his new record. They had a conversation about music and everything went well because soon after recording in LA, Stevie headed to the power station in New York City to add his distinctive flair to Bowie's album, playing on 6 of the 8 tracks and describing Bowie being really easy to work with and that almost everything was cut in 1 or 2 takes.
So now, was that you playing on Let's Dance with David Bowie? Really? So you were with Bowie at one time?
Just for the record.
Just for that
Just
record?
for the album. Yeah.
Okay.
He had seen us at Montreux, Switzerland. We had been booked for the Montreux Jazz Festival and saw the show and liked what he heard and asked me to play on the record.
Yeah.
And it was great. We were in the middle of doing Texas Flood when he called up and asked me to do it. I said, sure, why not? I had no idea what to expect, you know.
Let's Dance was released on 14th of April of 1983 and topped the charts around the world, becoming Bowie's biggest commercial success in the US, reaching number 4. The title track, meanwhile, was also a global #1 hit. I guess Nile could fulfill Bowie's wishes. Let's Dance is musically described as post-disco with elements of dance rock, dance pop, and new wave, with a total of 8 tracks, 2 of them being the track China Girl, which Bowie and Iggy Pop had recorded together for Iggy's album The Idiot in 1977, and a cover song by Metro called Criminal World. Vaughan's biggest influences on the album are the remarkable intro and blues swing on Modern Love, the phrasing on China Girl,
So this star's crashing.
and the blues touch of his riffs and solo on the title track. In May of 1983, Vaughan was set to tour as a guitarist on Bowie's highly anticipated Serious Moonlight tour, but backed out of the gig just days before it started. Now, this is a part of a lot of speculations, but the motives of his departure varies a lot. Some say it was due to contractual disagreements over control of Vaughan's potential promotional activities, that he got pissed off when the Let's Dance video came out and Bowie was pretending to play the guitar parts. Perhaps that Stevie was dismissed due to his alcohol and drug use, and also because his request that his band Double Trouble was a supporting act was denied by Bowie.
You played with David Bowie for a while. I don't know. This might be a bit of a sore subject for you, but Was that intended to be a short-lived project?
Actually, it was for. Originally, it was for the album.
Let's Dance.
He asked me to do the tour with Double Trouble opening up.
Right.
And it stopped because Double Trouble was really never ever included on the shows.
Oh, right.
It was just a line of bullshit, you know.
You just kind of got a really bad deal, bad sound, bad lighting. Yeah, I've been in that position. So.
Well, no, we were never even on the show.
Really?
He just wanted me to play with him.
Yeah, so you got a pretty raw deal.
Yeah, so I didn't go.
Like I say, I don't think we'll ever know the real truth, and mainly because both artists are unfortunately not with us anymore. But the reality is that following that dismissal, Bowie replaced Vaughan with the guitarist Earl Slick that worked with him before on a few albums, and we also worked with him in a few consequent albums for the tour. And what could have been an even more incredible tour and another important part of history for both artists had an abrupt end. But the reality is that Vaughan and Double Trouble and Bowie ended up in a good spot anyways. Texas Flood was released by Epic Records in June of '83. The album landed on the top 40 on the Billboard albums chart, and it spawned the number 20 rock radio hit Pride and Joy. And Let's Dance had sold more than 10 million copies worldwide, making it Bowie's best-selling album ever. One curious thing about the album is that on the original pressing, I guess, the name of Stevie Ray Vaughan is misspelled. That's it. Just a curiosity. Today, the Let's Dance recordings live on as a creative collision of two superstars brimming with artistic ambition. Sadly, Vaughan and Bowie never collaborated again, and some people say that they did reconnect in the summer of 1990 and enjoy a lovely afternoon together. Not long before, 35-year-old Vaughan died in a helicopter crash. What it could have been the first of many collaborations of two of the most important artists in the history of music became one of the most successful pop albums of all time and the first official recording of the most influential blues guitarist of the 80s. I guess we all wonder, what if more work between Bowie and Stevie Ray Vaughan had been done, but that's gonna stay all in our imagination. At least we have Let's Dance. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone's support. I hope you like, I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. This comes from a fan to another fan. And put in the comments, what's your favorite track by Let's Dance? And is that even your favorite Bowie album? Thank you. I'll see you soon and take care.